Again, the real question of the day is, am I wearing pants? Hello, this is Daniel Dauphin with Dauphin Horsemanship, and we're here today to talk about Bitless Bridles. We had a question in the comments on the last video that we put out about what my thoughts and opinions are on Bitless Bridles, and sometimes rather than typing tons of stuff out, shooting a video like this is kind of the easiest way to handle that. And I am going to open the floor right now. I just tell y'all, I am always looking for more ideas on things to shoot a video on. Some of the really good stuff we keep back for the website subscribers. After all, we are trying to make a living at this. But anytime you have an idea or something that you think would make a cool video, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll do what we can. I keep on my computer desktop a little file that's labeled video ideas, and it's probably 3 pages long right now. And some of that stuff, frankly, I don't have the tech savvy to know how to get done, or I don't have the equipment yet. Like we're looking at getting a drone in the near future and doing some things with that and upgrading this camera to a much nicer one, but we're just not there yet with some of that stuff. But give me the idea. If I like it, I will put it down, and it may be 2 years from now, but we'll go ahead and do the video when it's feasible to do it. So, Bitless Bridles. First of all, what are they? On YouTube, it's one of these buzzword things that in some of the forums and stuff, and when people say it, what I hear when I hear bitless bridle is, I believe that bits are cruel and cause pain, and so I'm going to put a Dr. Cook's noseband on them, and I am a humane rider and you're a cruel jerk. So let's first define what bitless bridles really are, and I do have some notes I took here, so I don't want to forget anything. So first of all, hackamores. Whether you're riding with a rope noseband style that's kind of more modern, or even a cable side pull type. I wouldn't say a side pull and a hackamore are exactly the same thing. Or whether you're in the classic vaquero bow saw with a leather thong and a horsehair Makati rein. All of those are bridles that do not have a bit. They are all bitless bridles. A halter, for that matter. Lots of guys, including myself, have started tons of colts in halters. You're in a bitless bridle at that point, and I wouldn't hesitate. A matter of convenience and stuff, sometimes I need to hop on a horse. I got several horses around here that I could hop on bareback with a halter and go run over there and open that gate real quick, or whatever I may need to do. So, you know, I have absolutely nothing against that. I have started for probably most of my career. I would say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I starting colts in a snaffle bit. And the only reason that I did that is I feel like my hands have gotten to a point where I can get away with it now. And so for most of my life, for most of the colts that I started them in either a halter or a side pull. And I really like a side pull, just to be frank, because everything in the beginning is about lateral, and honestly having the pull come from under the jaw is not nearly as direct as having it come from the sides, in my opinion. Now they certainly, you know, a few days worth, they know what it means, and the pull under the jaw doesn't change anything. But as far as the lateral goes, I think the side pull is great for that. But I don't really feel like I have to do that anymore. I can get away without it, and I don't have any ill effects in my horses. That used to not be the case. There definitely was a time when if I was riding a colt, I wasn't as good at giving them all the slack. Had a little more fear in me. I had to have control of things and all of that. And with a bit in the beginning, that's not a good thing. You will have some ugly mouth stuff. It's just not a great introduction to a bit. So, definitely not against riding horse in a bitless rig. I'm not against starting colts in a halter or a side pull or a hackamore of whatever kind. I wouldn't do it in a mechanical hackamore. Let's see, we have the Dr. Cook's type rigs, and I'm going to talk more about that stuff in just a minute. And then the war bridle type things, the Indian bridle. So that's basically, I've even seen them now made out of biothane, but the original was rawhide, and basically that goes in the horse's mouth like a bit, but it isn't metal. It could be, again, the biothane, rawhide, leather thong, whatever. And it just sits on the lower jaw, so there's no actual brow band or anything around the horse's head. The only part is on the horse's mouth and lower jaw, and then 2 reins going back to the saddle. And I don't have one of those. I would consider it kind of a novelty. It'd be kind of cool to go ride and work cattle one day, all day long, with nothing but that hanging on your horse. It's a little more naked, I guess you might say, but it certainly fits in the bitless category. And hey, you can get away with it. Your horse is not a danger to you. You don't have a total lack of control doing that stuff. That I'm not against them at all. Sort of the one thing, as I'm popularly known for in the bitless realm, that I'm not a fan of is the mechanical hackamore. And even that, if your horse is happy with it and you have pretty good hands, I mean, I would say one of the reasons I hate them, kind of like a Tom Thumb, when I see a horse ridden in that, probably 80% of the time, it's a pretty ugly picture. But there's 20% of the time, or whatever it is, when it's all working out okay. The horse is fine with it. I mean, if I were riding, had somebody in a clinic, I've had this before, that comes riding in a mechanical hackamore, as long as it's not a big problem, I'm not going to say a word about it. You know, if they're getting along with it, their horse is fine, I'm fine. No big deal. Whatever works, it is a-okay. So, the bitless thing, really, to my mind, like I started talking about, is more of a fad that's going on right now. And to my view, it all started with the Dr. Cook's stuff. So I'm going to address that. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I've never met Dr. Cook. I've seen some of the videos. I'm aware of the research and all that he piloted and formed his theories off of. And I'll talk about that just a little bit. I don't know if the man is still alive. I don't know. You know, I'm the dog in this fight. I'm just going to tell you the facts of that as I understand it. So, first of all, we need to understand something about science and scientific research. There can be bias. And if you're not looking at the actual papers and reading exactly what they are testing for, it is difficult to extrapolate from that data exactly where they were going. Sometimes those things are so laser focused on this particular set of variables and this conclusion that's truly useless, because there's nothing you're ever going to come across in the world that's comparable to the set of circumstances they set up. I would say that the research that Dr. Cook went off of is very much in that realm. So it was done entirely with racehorses, which is to say that everything that they're doing there is in an extreme. So I am familiar with it. I'm going to butcher some of the words because it's been a while since I read up on it. But they were basically looking at tongue paralysis and the tongue withdrawing into the throat, shutting off airways, and soft palate and epiglottal problems, and just all kind of crap basically going on back here in this area of the horse. Hyoid issues. Race horses, and again, I got my start riding race horses. That was my very first riding job. There is nothing in the horse world that is comparable to it. You're not going to push a horse to that anaerobic extreme that race horses go into, which drastically affects the outcome of that study. You're not going to ride them in a manner where they're breathing and pushing that hard and you have 30 pounds of pull on their jaw like jockeys do routinely. So there's absolutely nothing that happened in that study that is applicable to anything going on out here in the real world. Guys riding horses all day long on the ranch aren't in any way in the same territory that the horses that they studied were. If you're trail riding, if you are even English cross country, there's nothing going on where you're going to push a horse to the extreme that they were pushing horses to in that study and that race horses are routinely taken to. I don't want to blanket it all with poor horsemanship, but I mean, basically, if you're in the realm of having the problems that Dr. Cook was addressing with his miracle bridle, you're a crappy horseman. It's pretty much that simple. You are doing stuff with a horse that you should not be doing. And if you're not doing stuff that gets you into that territory, then his bridle is not applicable to you at all. It's just another thing. It's basically a gimmick that is being promoted with junk science, in my opinion. Now, does it work? Yeah. I mean, it's on legitimate pressure points on the horse. It'll go left, it'll go right. You know, I'm not saying that it doesn't actually work, but all of the information that they're giving you as to why you need this product and bits are bad, it's junk science. It's absolutely junk science. It would be on any shadow of a doubt junk science. Reputable universities, funded studies, junk science. Okay? Not all studies are good. They absolutely can be biased, and again, sometimes they're focusing on something that is in no way applicable to anything you or I are ever going to do with a horse, unless we are way the hell out on the edge of the limb where we shouldn't be. Alright, so that's the Dr. Cook deal. So again, bitless bridles, can they be useful? They absolutely can. Probably the one place that I would tend to use them more than any other than starting a colt, like we've already talked about, would be rehamming a really bad mouth. So I have had like off-the-track thoroughbreds, and the mouth on them was just pretty much ruined. And so you just get off of those pressure points entirely. And the mouths on those horses, when you get them, can be absolutely ruined. Even the best case scenario is pretty bad, but some of them are just, you know, that they can literally take tape and tie their tongues down and stuff, and you know. So you get a horse that's been taken to that extreme and they're that bad when you're riding them, and their facial expressions are showing that much discomfort and all with the bit, you just get off those pressure points. You put some type of a noseband on them. It could be at Dr. Cook's, it could be at Bosal, it could be a halter. You know, again, any of the ones that we talked about earlier, other than the Indian bridle, because that would still be on the tongue and in the mouth. And then you just let that horse chill out. You start working with his mind. You get his mind malleable. At some point he's far enough removed and his mind's on the good track, and then maybe you can go back to a bit and kind of get that stuff working again, and with his new mindset you can refresh those pressure points and get him back into a bit, or you just keep him in the bitless bridle. Again, I have absolutely no problem with anybody doing that sort of thing whatsoever. The only group that I have a problem with are the bits are cruel and cause pain, and I'm a wonderful human being because I am riding bitless. That's a, you know, I have oceanfront property in Kansas that I would just love to sell you if you're of that mindset, because that's exactly what it is. You've been fooled. It's a mark of the gullible, unfortunately. So, is a bitless bridle a sure way to avoid pain? Absolutely not. If you've seen the Physiology of the Horse's Head video, I tell the story in there of the horse that had been ridden bitless for years. He was an Arabian endurance horse, maimed with a big old knot of scar tissue on top of his nose. Hadn't been ridden with a bit, maimed. And the reason I had him, because he was running away for the first 5 miles of an endurance race. So at the end of the day, you have a pressure device on the horse's head. So you have some device which applies pressure to the horse's skin, which he feels through nerves, and you are applying pressure and releasing pressure. Bits work that way. Nosebands work that way. Dr. Cook's Miracle Bridle works that way. It all works that way. It's the same exact manner. So if you are having problems with a bit and thinking you're going to go to a bitless bridle to avoid those problems, odds are really good that it's your hands that are the real problem, and your hands don't change from bit to bitless, do they? So about the only time I would say that you're really going to avoid that stuff is when you are like in that OTTB situation where you just need to get off of these pressure points and go to these pressure points for a while you fix everything going on in that horse's head. So that's been some of my thoughts on bitless bridles and the bitless fad. Again, if you have any other questions, please in the comments leave them, and I will try to either answer them in the comments or we'll shoot a video. Definitely want more video ideas of things that y'all would like to see me do or talk about. Again, most of the actual riding type stuff we try to save for the website and the subscribers and that sort of stuff, and I'll go ahead and plug that. It's DauphinHorsemanship.com. You could join and become a barn fly. It's $15 a month, and you know we're going to have a lot of good information on there. I write blogs regularly, and then we do more customized, a lot longer. Typically we're releasing about 2 hours worth of video a week on that channel. There's a filly that we're starting. Her whole first year is going to be on there and then some. So if you're wanting to see me ride more and some of this stuff at play, that's really where you're going to see that. This channel we're gonna throw some of this stuff, but it's mostly the philosophical stuff is kind of the plan. So all right, thank you much, have a great day, we'll see you later.